You have an update on Tari Eason for tonight?
Tari is going to try it out and see how it feels. No update yet.
And what about Amen?
Amen's going to give it a go. He's still a little bit under the weather, but see how much he can go. He did shoot around today and a little extra work and felt okay, but still got to shake it off like the rest of a few guys that are sick.
Is this going to be like a season-long thing with Tari, just that you're going to have to watch and be wary of?
At times, I think he's still in the process of recovering, but the back-to-back and his extended minutes, that was the first one where he actually played a higher amount of minutes in the back-to-back session. So, he was a little sore yesterday and didn't do much this morning to shoot around, but we'll try to give it a go before the game. I'm not sure. Obviously, with time, it'll heal overall, and we don't have many breaks right now. But when we had those 3 and 4 day breaks, he was fine. Every other day now, it's going to be a little more tender afterwards.
You just had a back-to-back. You got another back-to-back this weekend, then another one next week. You've got a couple early in January. Are you going to have to be a little more careful just managing minutes with everybody during this next month?
Yeah, I think at times, obviously, with the guys that have been under the weather and have been banged up a little bit, and we have guys out, so certain guys get extended. I think with Amen being out early, we run other guys longer than we'd like to, but with everybody back healthy, obviously we have good depth, so we can manage it a little bit better going forward.
Fred's the NBA leader in minutes per game. Was that a conversation you had with him when Amin first went down, where you two were like, okay, you're probably going to need, I'm going to need to lean on you a little bit heavier while he's gone?
Yeah, I would say we did talk about it, but one thing he said quickly is I'm used to it. I've done it for years in Toronto. And then, like I said, we had a lot of 3-4 day breaks. Had a favorable schedule early, so we could run a little bit longer. But we're cognizant of that and want to obviously get guys back. Aaron's played well, and when our man gets back, we can shave some of those down. So any chance we get to shorten his rotation, we look for a chance to do it. And then sometimes he's extended because he's playing well, or overtime game happens. But yeah, we're conscious of that, and we'll try to shave him down when we get everybody back.
I know you don't put a lot of stock at home versus road, but what habits are you seeing here at home from the guys that you want them to also take on the road, since y'all have been so successful here?
I would say the confidence, and you don't necessarily want them to have energy from the crowd to play a certain way, but it feels like they get going with the crowd behind them here. But in the hostile environments, you want them to still show that resolve and toughness and competitiveness. And I think overall we have. It's just we had 2 close games where we lost and didn't play our best in a lot of areas. And so the toughness and improvement that we showed early in the season at home, we'd like to carry that on the road. And you look at those 2 losses with the way we got out-rebounded, especially on offense glass for the opposing team. Those things aren't happening at home as frequently.
It's been a difficult shooting stretch of late for Jalen. What do you think about his shot profile, the shots that he is getting?
Yeah, he's taking some good looks. I think you take a few tough ones early, and when you get to open shots, you're a little more anxious and trying to get them off quicker. And so for us, it's taking a good shot, taking the right shot, but it's continuing to be aggressive and read the game. And so teams are geared toward obviously taking him out and slowing him down, and so he has to read and get guys open, and then obviously it'll become easier for him. But talk to him about reading it, and also our bigs freeing him up some. A lot of times we're missing screens and not giving him a lot of separation, and it's a two-way thing especially in the pick and roll. And so guys have to get him open, and he has to make the right read from there.
Hey Coach, how valuable was it for you guys to go through film study during the shoot around? And is there anything you can share about what you may or may not have addressed before on the defensive side of the ball?
For today specifically, or in general?
For today.
Yeah, it's always beneficial, especially playing a team for the first time. We really dig into the personnel, and as much as we switch, guys need to know multiple players on each team. So it's always good to obviously go over new teams. But for the most part, we want to play how we play, and what we're starting to focus a little bit more on is ourselves offensively. We kind of laid the foundation of who we want to be defensively. Now there's unique challenges like the guards that we've seen recently. Trae Young's going to be one of them, and Donchill's coming up. But offensively, if we continue to grow ourselves, I think it's just important to watch ourselves as the opponent.
You mentioned about Jalen offensively and kind of how he's coming along. Are you pleased with what you're seeing in terms of his defensive development?
Yeah, I think he's taking the challenge there. He's improved on that end. Everybody talks about him being a high-level scorer, obviously 22 points a game in his second year. But we want him to be well-rounded, and for us to be a good defensive team, obviously he has to take a jump in that area, as well as Alperen and Jabari and the other guys I have as well. So he's taking the challenges. I think our team in general, the young guys are still making mistakes at times, and that's not specific to Jalen as opposed to the rest of the guys as well. So the more solid we can be, he can be. Obviously, we'll continue to climb up the rankings defensively.
Just to follow Jackson's question about Fred's minutes, you tweaked the rotation with him just a little bit, playing longer in the first and third quarters, not starting. Is that relative to how much he's been playing, or just specific to those nights, the last 2 nights?
Yeah, those nights. We do give him the longer run and come back and finish with Jalen for the most part, unless Jalen's hot, comes out of the gate hot, and we'll flip that rotation there. But he ran a little long, especially in the Cleveland game. Didn't give him a chance to get him out, and I think he played about 10 instead of his usual 9. So it was specific to that game, and not something that we planned on doing.
That's kind of a more traditional way of dealing with a starter who starts and finishes. Is it easier, if that's the right word, to go a longer stretch rather than three stretches and a half? In other words, to have a longer sit in between the two.
Yeah, I'd say Fred is able to do either one. Honestly, he never wants to come out. Honestly, so we take him out at 9, we take him out at 11. He doesn't want to come out of the game for the most part, but for him, I think he can do either. In general, you'd like to run him the 2 long stretches, and with our men being out, he's really being asked to do a lot more. So we'd like to have him in as much as possible.
He wants to sit at halftime. That's what got him in at halftime for.
Timeouts and breaks.
Thank you.
Thank you.